Hi everyone, we're back with a garden tour. As you can see, things have exploded. We had 3 inches of rain just a couple days ago, and so everything has just enjoyed all those nutrients and moisture and gone crazy. So we'll get started here. The sunflowers, those are what's here to the left here, that my dad planted from seed, have gone crazy, and I think every single one came up. So we may have to thin those. I don't know that they'll do well that close together, but we will see. My wildflowers are looking great, and many of them have actually bloomed now. So I'll take you through and show you. We have these really pretty little pink flowers. We have some poppies. Zinnias that haven't bloomed yet. This is actually one of my favorites. I don't know if you can see the little flowers down in there. That is balsam, and it is a old colonial cottage garden plant that was planted for various reasons. Pest control. Oh, look. Pest control being a big one. I think there were some medicinal, or are some medicinal properties to it as well. You can look here, some beautiful zinnias. Some more poppies. Loads of poppies, and they're gorgeous. Some pretty cosmos. More of those little pink flowers. Some really interesting zinnias. But yeah, so loads of flowers. They've gone crazy, which is great. Still have some weeds in there, but that'll be all right. Down here, we'll check on our dill, and if you look, we actually have our first dill blossoms starting. And so we should see some little creatures come partake in that. There's quite a bit of dill in there, still some weeds, but it is what it is. Then going back this direction, not a lot growing in that section. Do have one nice bronze fennel growing there. You can see that brownish color. Most of that didn't grow any further, but here is our beautiful borage. Let's see if I can show you the flowers. Pretty impressive. All of those getting ready to bloom. Keep going down this way. We weeded the cilantro, and now it's super happy. You actually can smell it because it's so hot today. You keep on down this way. We just have our little baby leeks here that are still trying to get going. But the star of the show this week are these green beans. And I don't know if you can tell, but they are massive. I'm 5'8", and they are between my knee and my hip tall. And they're loaded with blooms. Mike can even find you a baby green bean. There should be some by now. I thought I saw some earlier, but you know how that goes. They get lost. I know I saw one earlier. I wanted to show you. Oh, there's a baby one. Let's see if I can get it. So it is tiny. This is a baby green bean. And so probably about 2 weeks from now, we should be picking green beans and canning green beans and snapping them and being overtaken by green beans. But that's wonderful. My mom and I both I've gone through all of our canned green beans, so time to stock the pantry back up. The butter beans, you can actually see the difference here. So they're the darker ones to the left. They take a little bit longer to get going, and they don't typically become such a large plant. Some of them are blooming, but like I said, they haven't really taken off yet. And then right here, you'll see these sad little ones at the end of the rows, and you'll notice they're quite yellow. They're much smaller than everyone else, and we think that's where the fertilizer ended. So my dad put some just generic 10-10-10 fertilizer down at the very beginning of the season, and that's where he lifted up the fertilizer machine and didn't fertilize this last 2-3 feet. And you can really tell the difference. So don't let anyone tell you that your beans don't need fertilizer. They definitely do from the very beginning. Once they get established, they have a couple leaves and they're established, they can typically fend for themselves, but before that, they definitely need some fertilizer. So you'll look down. Well, obviously you do a soil sample and see if you do. But we know here with the sandy soil what happens every single year. So we know what we need to do with it. But anyway, so my butter bean row, and you'll remember I had this gap in the middle where the seeders stopped seeding and I didn't notice. And so we tilled that up yesterday, and I planted some more zinnia seeds. So hopefully in about a week those will be up and we'll have some beautiful flowers. The peanuts are doing great, and I actually wanted to show you if I can find one. I actually saw some of the little tendrils going down. Okay, so see right here? See these little lines coming down? So those are going down into the ground and making peanuts. So at this point, you don't want to mess around the plants very much. You don't want to be doing a lot of weeding. You don't want to be throwing a lot of dirt to them. You just want to kind of leave them alone, because those little tendrils are very delicate, and you don't want to jeopardize your future peanuts. But they're looking great. You'll see some are quite a bit smaller than others. Those are those ones that I planted later and transplanted over. But they'll catch up and they'll be just fine. My cotton is looking great amongst the weeds, but it's gotten, I'd say about 6 inches tall. Really pretty, beautiful color. The end of this row was supposed to be the watermelons, if you remember, but my seeds didn't come up, so I planted sweet potatoes. Alright, so loads of things to do in the garden today. As you can see, we've tilled between the rows, gotten rid of the grass. This is now a nice empty row right here, where that drip tape is going. That was supposed to be my watermelon patch, but only one of my sets of seeds came up, so I transplanted that over to another section, and this is now going to be sweet potatoes. So I have my little sweet potato slips here, and sweet potatoes, I've been told, will only grow from a slip, and this is considered a slip. So what happens is you have the sweet potato on this end where these roots are, and this sprouts off of the sweet potato just like a white potato does, but it creates these roots, and once this shoot is about 4 inches long, You break it off of your sweet potato and you put this in some water, or some people will put it directly into the soil, and this is your new plant. This is where your sweet potato will come from. I've been told that if you plant the actual sweet potato in the ground, that you won't get sweet potatoes off of it, that you'll just get a beautiful plant and no sweet potatoes. I have not tried that, so I cannot tell you, but I do know that Titus is trying it this year, so I'll link his video where he's planting his sweet potatoes, and we'll follow along and see what happens on both sides. Just a second, I want to show you this butterfly that just landed on the marigolds. Let me come over here if I don't scare it away. Oh, isn't that gorgeous? Look at that. I don't know. I'll have to do some looking. See if I can find out what kind of butterfly that is. But it's absolutely beautiful. Okay, so back to our sweet potatoes. So these are all my slips. I bought these from a greenhouse. I didn't grow these because you really need to start them back in February, and I just wasn't in that frame of mind at that point. But what I've read is that these need to be in the ground no later than July 4th. So we're June 13th. We should be good to go. For this region, Zone 7B, you can plant them anywhere from May 15th to July 4th and still have a harvest. I imagine May 15th is a little cold, but you can experiment and see how it goes. Sweet potatoes are a tropical plant, so the hotter the better. And so we'll get these in the ground. Supposed to have 25, looks like I have 19, and 2 of them are a little sad, but we'll get them in the ground. We'll make some holes here. And with sweet potatoes, kind of the same thing as tomatoes. You want to let them get pretty deep in the ground, and just have that top set of leaves sticking out. So this is the little bed that I created yesterday for them. Nice soft tilled dirt there. This is a great garden tool. If you don't have one of these, I don't know what it's called, but I can find a link for it and post it for you. But this little thing is amazing. Use it very much like a hoe, but it's much better at getting the weeds. So anyways, back to sweet potatoes. You want to plant them about 18 inches to 2 feet apart. So say about there. And I need to make 19 holes, so I'll get at it and I'll be back. When it comes to planting these guys, so I've dug my little hole here, and what I like to do is I like to take and kind of push the bottom in, and then we're going to pull back up like so. Get your hill back. And make sure you compact the soil around it if you have sandy soil like I do, because otherwise when it rains, you'll have sweet potatoes in between your rows. So that's how you plant a sweet potato. I'll show you another one real quick. So there's my hole. Put my sweet potato in like so, and I like to just lay it. You can definitely do this one-handed. It's easier with 2 hands, but as you can see, I can do it with one hand without any trouble. And there we go. That's 2 of my planted sweet potatoes. I'll get to doing the rest. Early on like this, it's very important to do a lot of weeding. Make sure they have a nice soft bed, and you can see this is very sandy, soft dirt. But you want to make sure they have a nice soft place, just like regular potatoes, so they have plenty of room to spread out those roots and make some potatoes. Sweet potatoes will go crazy. They are a vine instead of a bush like a potato. So they will cover all of this space. Certainly from my peanuts all the way to the potatoes. And I wouldn't be surprised if they don't spread even further. But we'll deal with that when we come to it. The potatoes won't be much longer before they'll be harvested. So they'll be out of the way and they'll be able to spread all that direction. So I'm going to finish planting these and then I'll be back. So we're finally getting around to starting our harvest. These zucchini plants are massive. And you can see we have some zucchini plants down in here. So I'm going to go ahead and pick this one. It's a little on the small side. But because we've had so much rain and it's in the wet, I want to get it out before that end rots. So we'll get that off. And we'll see what we have in this one. These plants are gorgeous. So this one, nothing on that side. Zucchini are tricky. They like to hide their babies. Oh, look, there's one. So if you look right here, there it is. Hiding down in there. So we'll get that off. And that's the perfect size, I think, for me anyways. And we'll look in this one. I see one already. This one right here. Now that we finally have gotten some rain, well, not rain, now that we've finally gotten some sunshine, things are taking off. Here's another one. Let those grow a little bit more. You have to watch zucchini because they will grow into the size of a baseball bat overnight. You'll have this teeny tiny one and you'll come back and it'll be massive. So if you're thinking, oh, that's a little on the small side, I'll let it keep growing, well, you better be ready to pick it really fast. So that's it on the zucchini. You can see the squash here. They are loaded. Bunch more for me to pick. Even this little tiny squash plant has little squash on it. So you can see, because we've had so much rain, that we have some rotten ones. I like to make sure I pull those off and get them out of there so they're not rotting right there in the middle of the plant. We'll get these off. These are also a little small. But we have rain coming and I don't want to take a chance on them staying and getting rotten. So you see that one's a little too far gone. Oops. That one, he's a little too far gone. It's just because of the water. That one's the same way. So we'll get them out of there. Some of these are from where it was too dry. So like this one just kind of became a gourd more than a squash. So let's see here. We got this one. That one fell off. There's a bad one down in the middle there. Get rid of him. Over here, got this beautiful one. We can get it off. And I think there's more on this next plant. Getting a pretty good quantity already though. Yep, I see a couple. So you can see they're just loaded with squash. So we'll be eating squash for quite some time, which I don't mind. I like to can it, throw it in the freezer, make casseroles. You can do all kinds of things with it. Some of these are older. Sorry for the camera work. It's hard to hold the camera and do it at the same time. This one hiding underneath the plant, which is interesting. Alright. Looks like one more here. One more plant, that is. Because I'll go ahead and pick these little ones. Alright. Pretty good haul for the first time. And they'll keep giving fruit for probably at least a month. We'll see if we can outsmart the squash bugs. At the moment, I don't see any evidence of them. But we will see. I know one of the new things people are doing is trellising their squash and zucchini. So growing them up right like you would a tomato plant. And if you can see, this one's a good example of it. It would be easy to do because it's vining out and going up a stalk. So it may be something to think about doing, because that one especially would be really easy to do, and we can try a little experiment and see how it does. But that's how the squash and zucchini are doing. And we'll get these fried up for dinner. Okay, so checking in on our potatoes. They are looking wonderful. You'll notice they're all falling over. I don't know if you can tell that. But they're falling over off of the hill. And that's a sign that the plant is done. It has done all it's going to do as far as growing greenery, and now it's growing potatoes. So at this point, we have had a little evidence of some potato bugs, but since the plant is pretty much done at this point, I'm not too worried about them. Do have these little guys, which I'll have to research and find out what they are, and find out if they are friend or foe. If they are foe, they will disappear. But something interesting, something that you don't always see on potato plants, is they have these little seed pods on top. And I guess probably should open one up and see what's in it, huh? See if I can pop it with my fingers. Oh, it's hard. Let's see. It's probably not ripe yet. But I'll get that open and show you what ends up being inside of that. So a couple places here after that really hard rain where the plants had separated from, had kind of fallen off the hill, some of the potatoes were exposed. So I did harvest a couple of those yesterday just to keep them out of the sun, because you don't want them exposed to the sun, then they turn green and you shouldn't eat them at that point. They'll probably make you sick. Or you have to cut the grain off, that kind of thing. But they're looking great. We'll be harvesting them once they finish turning yellow and the plant kind of dies. Then we'll get them out of the ground. If it looks like it's going to be an extended wet period, I'll probably come and get them sooner than that. Just because they can potentially rot. But they're looking great. My marigolds, this next row here, are also looking great. Many of them are blooming now. So you'll see they've had butterflies and bees all over them this morning. My little basil plants in between. Oh, what are we looking at? You see my little basil plants? No, because I'm not showing them to you. There they are. My little basil plants that I transplanted that looked so sad and pitiful are looking great now. We'll get on down here to the end. See loads of basil. Basil and marigolds are great pest deterrents in your garden, especially for your tomato plants. So I plant this hedge right along my tomato plants. So here we have our little watermelons that we planted. little watermelon plants that we planted last week, and they are looking great. Starting to run a little bit. I haven't seen any blooms yet, but even if I did, I wouldn't allow those to become anything at this point, just because the plants are too small. Our little new squash plants also looking great. A little bit on the yellow side, so I'll probably bring them some fertilizer next time I come out. Tomatoes are looking amazing. So if you look here, loads of tomatoes. I can probably find you some more. I actually have some ripe sun golds if I can find them again. Yeah, on the other side, but I might can get you a look at them here. So you see them? There's some ripe, whoops. There's some ripe sun golds over there. Pull them off. Take them with me. So that's what they look like. They'll be delicious. First little tomato harvest. These plants are going crazy. You can see the clusters of tomatoes down in there. Super excited for these to be doing well because my tomatoes in my pantry are incredibly depleted as well. So I need spaghetti sauce and pizza sauce and ketchup and all those lovely things, salsa. So these are greatly needed and appreciated. Next we have our peppers, and they have really enjoyed the sunshine coming out. So these are my red bell peppers. These down here are the purple ones. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a purple one there. And all my other different ones, we have some, oh, look at this one. It's a pretty good sized poblano right there. Those are super excited because I love to make Hispanic food and don't really appreciate actual green peppers. They're a little too flavorful for me. Cucumbers looking great. Here's how our cucumbers are looking. If you remember last week, I tried to kill half of these, not on purpose, but I transplanted them in the heat of the day and they wilted. That's where you're seeing a lot of those brown leaves down there on the end. And so in the meantime, we planted 4 little baby replacements. So this is a replacement just getting started. This is one of the ones I transplanted and tried to kill. The baby down there, not doing too much just yet. But if you'll look, so this is one of the transplanted ones. And if you'll look, I didn't kill it. We have a baby cucumber. And then at the end of the cucumbers, I planted more zinnia seeds just because I had them and this was a grass pit. So if you look down here, remember I had that baby corn, Asian kind of corn, and I haven't noticed any sort of tassel on it yet. So I'm actually thinking the big Silver Queen corn is going to beat it. It's going to come in first. So that's interesting, and we'll see what happens there. The big news with the corn, I'll show you here in a second if I can, oh, sorry about the car noise, get here to a good spot where I can show you. So our corn is tasseling. So if you ever hear someone say they're talking about their corn tasseling, that's what it looks like. And as this matures, it actually will, these will become little flowers and they will open up. And you'll see all sorts of little bees and things on them. But corn is one of those plants that can fertilize itself. So it's typically wind fertilized, which is why you grow it in blocks. You want to have at least 4 rows of corn so that they can properly pollinate. But what happens is these tassels up top, this is the male part of your plant, and then the silks that will develop down here, which you can actually see the beginnings of a corn cob right there. The silks will come out of there, and the silks are your female part of the plant. And what happens, so you get these tassels, and then in about a week we should start seeing silks down at the bottom. And silks on corn are very sticky. They're very tacky and just actually kind of irritating. But the reason that they are is because they have to collect the tiny little pieces of pollen that rain down from these flowers. So as it's raining down, blowing on the wind, it has to try and catch on those little silks. And every piece of silk corresponds to a kernel. So you don't want to do anything like try and remove any silks or anything like that. You want to leave them on there. Don't mess with them, because that is the product. The final end determines the final product you're going to have. So like said, 1 week from now we should start seeing some silks, and then after that, in about 2 to 3 weeks, we should be harvesting corn. And the interesting thing about this is that the actual seed packet for this corn said that by the germination date, we should be harvesting corn on July 4th. And at the moment, we are right on track. So everything is hitting the milestones perfectly, which is great. This corn is, I would say, probably 5.5, 6 feet tall. Can get up to 8 feet tall. I don't know that these will, but we will see. But definitely seeing the beginnings of a lot of ears on here, which is excellent. Super exciting. And doesn't look like the geese gnawing on them had any effect, which is wonderful. But we should have some corn momentarily, which is very, very exciting. So, if we keep on this way, I know I rattled on about corn for a long time. I apologize. I cannot wait for some fresh summer corn. Nothing is better. Our sunflowers are looking good. I do think they're a little stunted by the shade down here. But they're looking okay. Getting tall. These are 6.5 feet tall easily. Then if you come down to our flowers, sorry about the wind noise, we just got a huge gust, which feels amazing to me but probably doesn't sound great to you. So we'll flip around here and show you lots more balsam on this end. These haven't actually bloomed yet. You see the little buds on them. Some beautiful cosmos. Some teeny tiny celosia. I don't know if it's picking that up. Some zinnias. There was a really beautiful cosmo over here. Let's see if we can find it. There's beginnings of the zinnia crop. This one is a really pretty color. Little baby's breath down here at the bottom. More of those little pink flowers that I haven't learned the name of yet. More cosmos. Here's a really pretty balsam that you can actually see better. Gorgeous. So we're moving right along. Everything is looking great. We're scheduled to get some more rain the next 3 or 4 days. So I imagine loads more weeding, and excitedly loads more harvesting to come. I appreciate you hanging out and coming for a walk with me. I know it can be a little long-winded, but I hope you've gotten something out of this. And if nothing else, just enjoyed the peaceful sounds in the background. It's a absolutely beautiful day today. Probably about, I'd say probably about 85 degrees. Was a little nicer before the sun came out. Wasn't real humid when I first got out here. Now it's gotten pretty humid. But we have some storms scheduled this evening, so it's kind of to be expected this time of year. But I'm going to leave you in the peace and quiet and let you just listen to the sounds of the farm. And hope you have a wonderful day.